I hope everyone can hear this. Yeah, my interface has been kind of acting crazy, so. Alright, so uh, I'm going to give this a shot, and if anyone likes this, I'll keep this up. This is going to be what I consider kind of a crash course into Unreal Engine for anybody who's completely new to it. Got to show you how to quickly start a project. Might even include a few plugins, something that's worth looking into, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. For anyone who's completely new and wants to learn how to make a movie in Unreal Engine, I'm going to make a new project, import a 3D model, import a texture, make a texture material out of it, make a level sequence, and perhaps like a little level or something to work with. So it's going to be kind of a fairly basic 101 course. It kind of shows you what you can do with Unreal Engine. I'm trying to make it easy for people to really grasp it, and it's a good start. What I would strongly recommend is download it, build a set. That's what I've done. That's how I got my start into it. I just built sets out of it. That's really why I got into Unreal Engine, is because compared to iclone had a lot of limitations with set design, and the tools often it's a bit more expensive. Let's be honest, a lot more props in Unreal Engine, and there's blueprints that save a lot of time and, let's be honest, some money. So let's get right into it. This is Unreal Engine. You just go unrealengine.com, and to download it, you're going to have to download the launcher. So it's going to give you a couple instructions on how to do that. So I'm just going to click on this. Tell you how to download the launcher, install it, and then you're going to have an account. So if you haven't done that, do that already. So this is the launcher here. This will tell you what you're working with here. We're on 5.7. So I'm going to press launch. Before we do that, I'm going to get out of this first. And I already made my first mistake. Don't worry about it. But yeah, let's get into it. And no, I'm not going to be using Discord. Let's get out of that. So cool. All right, so this is the main splash screen for 5.7 that you're going to see. Probably won't see this with like 5.6, but whatever. Go to new project, film, video, and live events. I haven't really looked into this, to be honest with you. You can if you want to, but for now, let's just go with blank. And I'm just going to go down here to my millions of little Unreal projects. Tutorial 3, yeah. Show you how many times I tried to work with this. So yeah, I went with blank, where your destination is, and then you go create. And it's going to do the fun with compiling shaders. So while that's doing that and taking like God knows how long, there's a site called Polyhaven that we're going to use. So I found this cat. It's free. You can download it, and it'll tell you what textures. Does it actually have the displacement? Let me double check on that. No, we should have displacement, but nah. Let's worry about that later. Besides, yeah, don't worry about it. So we're gonna put this cat into Unreal Engine. And you know what? Might as well to get a few more textures while we're at it. It's a pretty useful site. I like it. It's primarily Blender. They have HDR eyes, they have textures, they have models. So go ahead, polyhaven.com. Let's see. Is there anything for floor? Let's go look. How are we doing, Unreal? Yeah, it's still gonna take some time. That's how it is. Let's go with something like this. Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to download and yeah, download what's known as AO roughness metallic, ambient occlusion roughness metallic map. So, and then our diffuse, and then our normal. And that should be it. Go ahead and download that. Okay, still at 3,000. Yeah, you're gonna have to be patient with this. Okay, let's get that going here. And I'm actually going to, so yeah, this is ambient occlusion roughness and metallic. I'll kind of break it down here, how to work with this. And before we begin, I'm going to need to do one more thing. So, whatever it's called. There you go. Okay. I'm going to go into Blender quickly. I might throw this, might actually give you guys this pretty soon. I'm going to make a plane. It's going to be 2 by 2. So what we need to do is I'm going to actually decrease it by half. So it's going to be a square meter. So what I'm going to do is subdivide and do this. Yeah, something like this here. That's good. So go to export. And I'm going to go here. Yeah, I'm going to upload this and 1 meter by 1 meter and plane. Very good. And just in case, I probably screwed this up, but whatever. We'll see. Actually, you know what? I might have screwed this up. So Unreal is nope, never mind. It's good. Should be fine. You'll see why I have this. All right. So how are we doing there, Unreal? We still trying to compile? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yeah, this is where editing would really come in handy, but oh, it's that thing. Oh, it's done, and then it goes to 2,000. Yeah, I love it. So let's see what Polyhaven has to offer. There's a couple of sites I recommend. The other one would be this one's more of a paid subscription service, but really good. Like the quality is incredible, which would be Polygon. And they actually do have free items too. So you sign up, you get a free item here. Especially that's really good. So Polygon's a good asset. Polygon is great. Like I said, they're mostly Blender, but they do have Unreal instructions for anybody who wants to work with it. So some really good, you know, some good stuff here. Fab, obviously, Fab has it. Fab.com is good. So what I do recommend is, so here we go to Fab, and you just look at Sorry, somebody caught my attention. Yeah, you can look at some of these sets, go and download them, work with it, and just kind of mess around after you're done watching this, and see what you can build. Just kind of take your time, be patient. There's a lot to go with Unreal Engine. All right, so let's cover the main UI. Content drawer is where you're going to find your items here. So if you installed anything through Fab, which is going to be up here, this is where you're going to find stuff from the store or what you bought. If you go up to this little icon where it says My Library, you're going to find this here. So I have a lot. Anything I find, especially like free stuff, you just go and download it and just mess around with it. So, see what you come up with. So that's the content. I'm actually going to make a folder. So what I'm going to call it is sets. So this is more of a filmmaking perspective. I do sets. So what sets are is basically levels. So let's say I'm going to make stage. There you go. So we have sets for stage, something what I call sequences. Let's see, sets, and then we'll cover it later on. So I like to make, so that's kind of like the first thing. I usually try to install my plugins. Okay, yeah, sorry, I royally screwed this up. Yeah, so I would make like my folders first, sets, props, characters. Props would be like 3D models, materials would be a separate folder. But I'll go through this later on after I actually set up the project itself. So we go up to edit. So this is this should be kind of the first thing you do when you open up Unreal Engine. So I kind of royally screwed this up. Sorry. So edit, there's something called project settings and plugins. So let's just go to plugins first. And not only that, but let's also go to the Epic launcher. And I'm going to show you guys something that I should have shown you earlier. Yeah, this is a work in progress, sorry. So if we go to library here and you go to right down here, you go click on this next to the launch, you go to options, and this is going to tell you how to install it. So if you want MetaHuman, you want to select MetaHuman Creator Core Data, but you're going to be downloading 6 gigabytes worth of stuff. That's if you want to work with MetaHuman. Next, you would have to get the plugins installed. So let's say you want to work with procedural. You want to work with a procedural vegetation editor. So this is just a new feature they have for 5.7. This will allow you to create get trees and everything set up. So you can click on this if you want to. Anything that could be of use. If you want to do MetaHuman, you just want to make sure that your MetaHuman plugins are installed. You just check them and they'll install it. But if you do, you're going to have to restart your system. So let's say I want, you know what? Let's go back to procedural. Sure, let's click on this. Sure, click on this. Yeah, that'll work for me. Yeah, so it'll tell you to restart. We'll do that afterwards. So the tools that I use actually, I use Cinematographer Lite. I actually like working with this. This is a camera tool that has a lot of like Hollywood camera presets to it. Does all the heavy lifting, lets you choose, it helps, there's a lot of settings you can choose, like, shutter angle and all that fun stuff. Shutter speed, and it's either shutter speed or shutter angle. I don't remember which one is which for this one, but it lets you choose that. Mesh blend, that's a pretty useful feature, but let's not worry about that. So I'm going to exit out of this, and then we're going to go to project settings. So edit project settings, and yeah, this is quite a lot to take in. So the first thing I would do is you go scroll all the way down to rendering. So engine, rendering, and then you're going to scroll down a bit. So there's a couple of things you want to double check. Let's say ray trace shadows, you want to check on that. Just in case, so if you have an RTX card, you want ray tracing, make sure that's selected. You want to make sure generate mesh distance fields is selected. Well, yeah, since we're working with trees, I might as well select that. If we do trees, that's kind of complicated, but allow static lighting. We're going to uncheck that because that's going to allow you to use ambient occlusion maps. So uncheck that. And I think that should be okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to restart now. So you'll restart with your plugins. Let's say if you're working with iClone, it's going to, if you need to check the Unreal All-in-One, you'll do that. But keep in mind, it's going to, by unchecking the static lighting and everything, it's going to have to compile the shaders again. So I'm just going to wait a bit and let me mute the mic for a second. And I'm back. Okay. Alright, so Unreal Engine is back up online. We got everything installed apparently. We got our little plugins that we want to install. Everything is good. So let us begin. So this here, like I said, it's content. The content drawer is where you're going to find everything. Let's say if I had a camera or anything in the plugins here, I would, like if there's anything like the vegetation, they'll be all the way down here. So let's go find procedural plugin, vegetation, and there's something called sample assets, and let's just load up the assets here. And you could do this too, this is available for 5.7. It's going to take some time because it's loading up some trees. So, and if you want to download more trees, you can do that at the, see if I can find it for you guys quickly. Eggplants. There we go. So here in the Fab Marketplace, if you look up 3D, let's look at nature and plants. Here you are. You can find this for free. We'll wait till this loads up. Sorry, it's going to take some time, but maybe I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, but I'll kind of run through like PCG, what can be done here. So yeah, that's where you kind of scroll all the way down the plugins and procedural vegetation editor. You saw me kind of select that in the plugins. So this will allow you to plant trees. So let's say I want more than 100 trees or something like that. I want to plant a forest. all you do is press the R button. So R button will scale it. W would actually change it to transform, and E is to rotate. So W transform, E for rotation, R for scaling. So that's kind of like the basic here. I'll go through it again much later. But this is just one of the little plugins they just recently introduced, and I thought it's pretty nice. And thanks to this little thing, which if you're wondering where it is and how to find it, let's go through here. Oops. Let's see. You can say browse to assets, and you'll find it in the sample, materials, global foliage actor, just in case you need it. And what this does is, let's go to like 5, 10, 6, 5, 4. You kind of see it change colors. And if you want to increase the wind, you can actually do that. But just kind of be careful. So that's kind of fun. So just make sure the night foliage is selected when you do that. So if you want to enable it, I'll show you how to do it quickly. You go here to just look up procedural in the plugins. Procedural vegetation editor, select that. And before you do anything, you go to project settings, and then under rendering, look up what is known as nanite foliage. And you select that. And then you got yourself some nice trees to play with. And you can actually change, let's say you got other trees to work with here. So under, yeah, this is a little crazy, so sorry. This might be a little out there. But, you know, this kind of is a fun way of knowing what to work with here. Oops. See, graph, component. Sorry, parameter overrides and tells you trees. Select that, and then you can replace your trees, or you can add a whole bunch of new ones through this little plus button and through here. It's for free. Play with it. Oh, you can make happy little trees, as Bob Ross would say. But yeah, really fun way of working with this. Anyway, let's go back here. Let's go back to our set. So the content, and know that I should also detail the outliner. Sorry, I get too excited. So this here is the outliner. This will tell you what's in scene. So if you need to find certain examples, you can just go through here. It tells you what's in the scene. Here, this would be a skeleton mesh. This what's actually what's so special about these trees at 5.7. Instead of using cards, they use like a skeleton system. So it's actually pretty nice. There's little folders here to organize, which is, yeah, you really want to stay organized. You don't want to go completely off track. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Like I said, this is just what you expect from Unreal Engine. If anyone wants to work with that, they can. So, anyways, let's get back onto the main show here. Let's discuss how to make a basic movie with Unreal Engine from nothing. So, let's go back to main. And let's discuss our folders. So, I made one called sets. I right clicked, and you can actually go to level, or you can go to file, new level here. I'll give you a list of options. So let's say you want like a basic or an open world. So we'll create that. Here, you'll actually kind of show you here. So we go to the skylight. Oh boy, just move the light around here. Using a left click here. To move the light around. So not too bad. Personally, I use a plugin called Ultra Dynamic Sky because it just makes things a lot easier. But for now, I just made a basic blank set here. So it's up to you. I personally don't use the sky default sky too much. I would rather just use like Ultra Dynamic Sky or you know, if I'm in a pinch, I would just go and make one myself or go and make the lighting and everything. So we have a basic set here. It's completely blank. So let's discuss some set design here. You can tell the outliner is completely blank. There's nothing, you just have set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it materials. And with this, let's actually bring in what I call, let's bring in the wall here. So this is from Polyhaven. So I'm going to make a new folder, called rock wall and 15. There we go. Stay organized. Don't just put everything in one folder. It's just going to be a pain in the butt to sort it out. So we're going to take these four and I'm just going to drag it in. Now, there's a few things we need to do before we get everything all set up. So you see this little star next to it, that means it's not saved. Star on the icon, not saved. So you can just click on that, press Ctrl S. But for the rock wall displacement, what I'm going to do is go to sRGB and uncheck that and save. Same thing, double click right here. So sRGB, uncheck, and save. So this is going to be anything that it's going to turn into. It's going to kind of change things around. I can't really explain it very well. So leave this alone. sRGB for the displacement, and anything that's like an ambient occlusion, a roughness, and a metallic map, you want to uncheck the sRGB. For normal maps, it depends, but it kind of depends on what they do. But you go down to advanced and go to flip green channel and select that and press save. So that's what you got to do for normal maps. Usually, you can go back and forth, but yeah, for anything like an ambient occlusion, a roughness, a metallic, select, uncheck the sRGB. Color maps or diffuse, just leave alone. And normal is flip green channel. So right click, and we're going to make a material. So what I'd like to do is start out with M rock wall 15. I'm going to select that, double click, and right here is pretty much how we set up our materials. Now, there's a few things you can do. Let's click on two-sided. So if we have like a plane, it'll show up on both sides of the face. It can be pretty helpful. And let's say if the normals are all screwed up, you can do that as well. Now, blend, you can change it here, post-process surface, but we'll keep it surface. Masked, you know, if there's anything like with an opacity mask or anything like that, translucent. Sorry. Yeah, translucent, we usually go, we change things, but we'll just let you know if we need to change things. You know, if there's clear coat, if there's a subsurface cloth, it'll give you like a fuzz here. So if you need to work with that, same thing for, let's say if there's a subsurface scattering, click on that. But right now, we're just going to default it. Now, there's a few things I want to do. So click on this. So let's say for this one, I had a displacement map. So we're going to click on this, enable tessellation, and click on displacement. So displacement should show up right here. All right, so let's break down the maps and what they do for anyone who's not familiar. Ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallic. It kind of splits it in three. We'll have to use RGB. You know, this is our diffuse map, our displacement, and then our normal. So if we go to normal, just click and drag RGB, click on normal. See, it brings a bit of detail here. You know, so save that. And let's bring in the base color. So it's a node based system. You can actually go pretty crazy with it if you want to. Make some really advanced stuff in it, but we're just applying the texture. So this here is ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallic. Since we turned off the sRGB, so click on this. And sRGB is unchecked. It's going to work properly. So this red, so if you want to think about this, red, green, blue. So red goes into the ambient occlusion map, which should work because we enabled the, we unchecked static lighting. Green for roughness, and blue for metallic. Roughness is kind of if you really want to make, when it comes to objects and everything, how it interacts with light, that's kind of the main one. So for like metal, it's pretty useful. And the last one should be displacement. So we're going to go to displacement, and I'm going to save it. Now, displacement here, magnitude, I'll show you what magnitude means when we apply the material. So next one would be, after materials here, I'm going to make a new folder called props. And I'm just going to make what I call a 1x1. So it's that subdivision, or that subdivided plane that I made. That should be 1 meter by 1 meter. So just kind of click and drag. I'll ask you a few things. Big meshes, sometimes now this is more for skeletal meshes here, so don't worry about that too much. It depends. Combine static meshes. If you want to make sure that they're all in one piece, you can. Let's say if you're working on a gun and you want the pieces to, you want like anything assembled, like if you want the slide to go back and forth, you can uncheck that, and then we can make like a blueprint actor and combine all that, and you can animate it in the sequencer. But if you want to combine it, make sure, otherwise you have like a ton of pieces you have to kind of assemble together. It can be kind of a pain in the butt. And that's kind of what we're looking for. If it has the animation, you want to import that in. It's usually come with FBX. So import it. And we have our plane. So we can just click, drag and drop. our plane into the world. And you can't see it because there's no light, but that's okay. So here it is, it shows up. Let's actually make just make a simple folder. Right click, new folder, and then you can just drag it in. So if you're looking for something with, you want to be organized, just it's going to make things a lot easier. We'll have one for lighting and one for camera. So here in the details folder, it's going to this is where you'll see it where it is in the world, and this is going to be in centimeters. So we're going to put this right at 0, 0, and 0, and it should be right here. So the origin here will be right here, 0, 0, 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a basic light. So if we go up to this box with this plus sign, we can actually quickly add whatever we need to our world. Basic shapes, characters, lights. We can add in a camera. We'll discuss that later. Let's say if we want to add any shape we want, we could do that here. Anything if you want to add in particle effects, a post-process volume, which I'll discuss later on. But anything you want, you can even search it. Like if we need to look for wind, we can. So let's go to lights, and I'm just going to add in a point light. And I'll kind of go over the lights quickly. So let's add in a point light here. Let's also add in what is known, let's add in a directional light. So this is much more useful for outdoor scenes. Point lights is like lamps, spotlights. Sometimes I use them for like street poles and anything like that if it's outdoors. But the main light I like to use is known as a rectangular light. This is the one that I like to use the most because I kind of treat this like a box light. So if you're working with a movie set or have the idea, if you want to kind of imagine that you're building a movie set, this is going to be your best friend. The rectangular light is going to be your good old friend to work with. So you can set intensity wherever you want. You can change the size of this. Fun thing is, you have to remember. So at the attenuation radius, you can change the size of that. You can change the light. You can change the barn door length here, the angle, stuff like this. This is your best friend. So if you want to bake the lights, you just change it to movable. And you can also change the color temperature by clicking select temperature. And if we want to do like a tungsten light, we can work with that here. So if we just delete that, we got ourselves a nice warm light to work with. So it's kind of a really nice guide into lighting. Take advantage of rectangular lights, they're amazing. So we have our light. We have a 1 meter cube here. So let's actually make a new folder, and I'm just going to call it lighting. And this is where, staying organized, because you don't want this to be a massive mess. So there we are. Move the light around. I'm going to change it to movable. There we go. What it's going to do by changing it to movable is, it's going to take a while to render, but it just, you get better lighting and all that, and most of the time they do require it. Otherwise, it kind of has a little bugs. So G is to remove the markers and everything. So we have a set. We can change the size of the scale. So let's say it's 4 meters, or in this case, we'll just leave it at 2. All right. Now the thing is, the reason why I created that little subdivided mesh is we're dealing with tessellation. So if we bring in our rock wall, you can see all the little detail. And we can actually change the size of this. So it's a little intense. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to bring this down to like a 2 and save it in the magnitude. So displacement, magnitude, something like that there. Of course, you'll have to, if the nanite can be too much, we can make adjustments. So what I did was I rotated by rotated here. The next thing we need to do is let's move it. You can actually change the size. You can snap. You can snap here, and you'll move it freely. Or sorry, if you uncheck that, it's not going to. It's going to be free. But if you click on this and if it's highlighted in blue, it snaps to 10 centimeters. Or you can change it up to 50, 1 meter, 5 meters, 10 meters if you need to. E. So W transform, E for rotation. Same thing. So if we can change it to 90 degrees again, and change it from 50 to 100, or yep. So if we move this here, see some of the shadows are a little weird. Let's go to fallback target, click on relative error, and I'm going to do 0. Then apply changes and save. Somewhat better. And sometimes it's lighting. There's also another one too. This one is kind of like my backup. So if we select, I need to go and find it quickly. So if you see something like this, like with nanites and it's causing issues, here's what you need to select. I'm going to save it. There you go. Enter this right under here, under what's known as console command. Click on that, and it didn't do anything. It's probably lighting. Most times it is. So let's just we can just fix that there. Yeah, something like this. So if we want to, we can just go up to here and make a little wall. That's all I'm going to do today. Nothing too fancy. This is just a very basic course. So you got yourself, and this is where that displace comes into play here. Of course. Let's see. Yeah, we don't need that, sorry. So if we just change that, there we go. And of course, we can change the magnitude a bit. Go with like 10. Might be too much, but you can just play around with it, see. And you know, each displacement map is the any map like that, it's always built differently. Be 5, it could be 10, it could be whatever. All right. So, something here. Let's go to 0, 0, 0. Like 4. 47, like 4. There we go. We have a basic little set here. And let's get material again. And let's find see. 300 polymeter, right? There we are. And if you want to, you can just drag the folder in as well. And I'll make one just like that. All right, so same thing we need to do is go through here, uncheck sRGB. Double click on the normal, flip green channel. Save. And uncheck sRGB. Okay. Right click, material. Gray. There you go. So same thing. You can just click and drag these in, just like that. R for ambient occlusion. Green for roughness. Blue for metallic. This here is going to be our base. And our normal, just like that. But there'll be a little bit more, well, here I'll actually demonstrate a few things after we get this. So you see displacement gray. Scroll down, enable tessellation, and drag that into displacement. And there we go. Now that we're done, I'm going to drag this. And you can see. Now that might be a little too excessive. Let's do like 1. And if I don't like it, I can just take it off. There we go. Very good. Probably not the most stunning set, but it's just the basics, of course. Just the basics. Alright, so let's actually make one more material. And I'm going to go with right click material, and we'll just go with steel. Or anything else. So let's discuss base color. So let's press 3 and left click, and that's going to bring up the color. So you can click on this and determine what you want. So do this, click on the base, and now with that, but let's go to 1, and we're going to left click. So type 1 and left click at the same time, right click and convert the parameter. So let's go with metallic. So what this is, what you can do as a parameter is you can actually change this in, let's say if you're making a new material, which I'll demonstrate. In fact, let's actually right click and convert this and call it color. Just like that. And then copy and paste this. And I'm actually going to change the to roughness. Okay. So let's go to metallic, and you can see what we're going to do. You gotta see how shiny it is. So let's say we need to do 0.5, 0.1, 0.25, and then this is where the metallic comes in, 0.5, 0.75. Oh, no worries at all. Yeah, just let me know if you have questions. So this is really like when it comes to materials and everything, your roughness is really important. So if you want like a mirror or glass or something like that, that can work for you. So we're gonna do something like this there, yeah. And you know, just for fun, what I used to do is let's see if there's textures. Let's see if there's things in like starter content. Let's look for some. So let's go down to engine content. What do they have for starter content? Moss. Apps. Nope. Anything interesting? Textures, blank. No, nothing interesting. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you know what? That's all right. Yep, this is kind of like the basics for anyone who wants to jump in. Hopefully, this is good. I might have royally screwed this up. Let's not worry about that. So this is kind of like how to make a basic shiny object. We can go into much more. I could easily throw in a bunch of stuff. We can do like mixing and mixing a bunch of different textures and everything. Show you how to move around with it, but that probably be much or make much more advanced stuff. But now is not the time. So if we go here, make the shape. Let's go with the simple sphere here. Click on that. Click on this. Let's go. There we go. Well, let's actually add one more object too. Let's add in one more material, which let's go through here. I'm going to call it glow. And I call it master. Click on this. 3, left click, right click, convert to parameter, and what we need to do is go to color. Yep. And the funny thing is this, like I've always had requests to do like the basics, and I don't know, it's always one I struggled with. So, and people are gonna find out that I'm going to royally screw this one up too. So I just go with call power, and I'm going to mix. Press M, and this will be a multiply node. So it's going to combine the two together. And we're going to put that in base color. Actually, nope, sorry. This needs to be in base color, and this needs to be in emission. So, material instances. Yep, I'll show you what those are. So, this is what I call a glow master. So, if we right click and make a material instance, let's say I want to make a red one. Red. Click on this. And if you go here, you see the power. Let's go with 25. And if we see the color, we can actually change it to red, just like that. So you can change it to whatever color you want. So this is just me. This is kind of like my lazy way of doing it. So you see, kind of close. And not that, but let's also decrease the size, 0.25. And I'd say, I want to be much more powerful. Go with 55 and save. Now you can tell, this isn't working. It glows, but I don't like it. You know, first of all, I'd like to do this is where the point light comes in. So what I like to do is add a little point light right through here. So it's going to be right where the object is. Turn it red. And under source radius, I'm going to change the size to like a 10. So this is like stuff like lamps. What I do for if I need to make a lamp. Soft source radius, I'll increase that. Go like 4. And change the movable. So let's say I'm going to call this bulb. Bulb, and then I'm going to drag the point light in, just like that. Oh yeah, love a good. Yeah, we'll have to get through materials eventually. But yeah, so we got ourselves a little bulb here we can work with. But let's say I want to, we don't have that flare effect, that bloom. How do you get bloom? Well, that's pretty easy. We're going to go to volume, and this is known as a post-process volume. So click on that. What it is pretty much where all the little visual effects, anything like, let's say, for example, let's enable bloom. Now you can tell it's not working, but if we bring this in and if we just change it there, and if we change, yeah, you see, it doesn't work. Until we get right inside the bloom. Yep. Just like that. And let's say the lens flare is too much. It always is. I just reduce it just a little bit here. Now, there could be other things too. Let's say you want to make like a little portal. Like if we step inside, it turns black and white. So if we go through here, let's go through. Sorry, just jumped a little bit too much. Let's go through global saturation, and let's go through 0. Now you don't see anything until we enter the world. Boom, just like that. Let's return it back to 1. Now, let's say we want this to go on forever. Easy. You type in infinite. And under infinite extent unbound, you check that. And there you go. You got yourself a limited post-process volume to work with. And can it add a vignette? Yes, you can. I'll show you. You can even add, let's go through. Add a little vignette. You can actually add film grain. You can actually have this in your camera too. Yeah, a little bit of film grain and vignettes and a whole bunch of little fun stuff you can. I've seen cartoon effects here. Personally, I like to do the post-process volume inside the camera. So let's say we're going to add a camera. Go to Cinematic, Cine Camera Actor, right click, and then this is going to be called Pilot. So press Pilot here, and how you can tell is if you see this highlighted in blue, this is where the viewport of the camera is. Tells you what camera here we're working with. So let's adjust. We can do 69, or personally, let's go with 35mm full aperture. I like to do like a 50. Yeah, 50. Let's do a prime. Let's do 2.39. Our aperture, let's go with an 8. It's been a while, so it's been a while since I do this. I have a camera effect. I have a camera plugin that does a lot of the work for me. So in the lens, let's get a bloom going, just like that. Same thing for like your post-process volume. 0.05 here for the lens. None of that, but let's say there's also a fun little thing that they just included a while back. A lot of people seem to miss. So there's something called squeeze factor. If we switch it to 2, it makes an anamorphic lens effect. So, sorry. Under focus settings, you kind of see it. It makes this nice oval. So you can select that. Yeah. Knowing that by piloting by the WSAD, you can tell where your camera is going to be. And right click, and we're going to stop piloting. Press G. And it shows you where the camera is. It's right there. So let's hide this for a bit. There we go. And let's import an item here. So if we go to props, I'm going to go to cat. And let's go to Polyhaven. And we have a concrete cat statue here. So just making sure. Let's take meshes. Find stack meshes. Let's see what happens. Squeeze factor. Yep, that's the anamorphic lens. Well, let's see what this cat statue looks like. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'd rather yeah, we'll see what it looks like here. You may have to adjust materials or not, but yep, no, never mind. Seems okay. And let's increase the size of the cat statue. Let's give it some proper lighting. So let's go with at least a 3250. So use color temperature. So let's do 3200. Like shooting tungsten light. This is just me messing around with my light. Double click. There we go. Now that, but it's also just establish here for 1. There we are. Right click on the cat, pilot camera. So we can just make adjustments if we need to. Do 8. See the camera. If you go to focus settings, draw a debug focus plane. You can focus here. Or you can use the eyedropper. But my experience, it's always had issues. So let's say we're dealing with a 1.4 here, or 1.8, sorry. So, anything with a shallow depth of field. And in fact, let's actually do one more thing. Let's actually go to camera component. Do the one thing that I always forget to do. Sorry, I'm usually, let's go to exposure, metering, and then manual. And you notice that there's some issues here. We'll have to improve our lighting, or you can actually use the exposure compensation. So what this will do, when it does like auto exposure, it wants to brighten up almost everything, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. Let's go with like 4. Oh yeah, depth of field is fine. I have like the camera tool I like to work with has a really nice one. But, Unreal Engines is pretty good. What you get. So, play with the camera, learn the light, and get pretty nice effects here. This is just the basic cat. There we are. Not that, but let's say, let's get a sequencer going. All right. So let's say you want to get everything nice and rendered, but you don't know where to begin. Oh shoot. How do I set the scene up? How do I make my scene? What I do is go to this clapboard here, add a level sequence. So this is what I call, so if I go to content, create a new folder, you can do scenes or sequences, but we're thinking of them as like scenes. Yep. This is limited. Yeah, movable. Yeah, this is just like very basic stuff. You can actually go pretty crazy with the lighting. So I go cat. And this here is my timeline. So let's go with, so you can change the, your frames per second. Usually go with 48, just because there's some issues with the motion blur. So I like to render in 48 frames per second. Action, I do 120 to, 120. No worries. It kind of looks a little goofy, but that's our little example for now. Let's say we want to move the camera or anything like that. So you can just click and drag or click on add. We can change the size of the cat. Let's actually find the cat here. Concrete statue cat. And let's make it tiny and then increase the size. So what we'll do is, this will show all. So if you want to show the track, or if you want to isolate this, click on that. So if you want to change the size, it's in 60 standard. Yeah, but to be honest with you, I like to do 24. I usually like to render in 48, and then for my final films, I do 24 frames per second. But that's me. That's what I like to do. So if we go to scale, and let's change it to like 8. So you can see the cat is growing in size. You can move, and so you can transform, you can change, and let's say let's make a basic shape here. And add in steel. So if we drag the cube in, And you can actually make folders too. So let's say actors. You can do actors just in case if you need to put them in. Oh yeah, it feels different projects. Yeah, it feels different. You know, like when I build a scene, or I like here's how I like to think about this. When I build a scene, set first, then I have a bunch of scene ideas. I like to do different sequences for scenes. I don't, so that way I kind of have an idea what to shoot, what to plan for, and everything. So if I need to go back to it, I can use it. And that's the fun thing about a sequence is it kind of resets everything. So if you have character animation, it goes right to that animation. You don't have to constantly make a new one. Or sorry, you don't have to like worry about it too much. It goes right into like the character's moving around or doing an action. It'll pull up that action. So let's say cube, stack mesh component, and let's go with a slot. Material, I think. Yep. Let's say I want to change the color to like blue. And we'll do that. Oh, it kind of changes blue. Yep. So let's quickly discuss, and not that, but we can also make sure. So let's say you can move the camera around if you want. So let's do like basic dolly here. Click here and here. And that, so just like that. You can also adjust. So you can go up here and adjust the speed. And add in like an ease in, ease out. So just like this. So right click, weighted tangents. So make it a little bit more. Oh, stops and stops here. Yeah. The reason why I actually do 24 is it's more of a, it gives it a much more like cinematic feel. That's the reason why I go for that. You know, we get this nice dramatic feel here. Something's going on with the cat. So if we go through focus settings here, click on the little dropper, and you see this is a keyframe. So right next to the undo arrow here, there's a keyframe. Click on that, and if we kind of skip, we can click on this and add a keyframe, just like that. And let's say something's off, you can slowly adjust, just like that. That's why I like to use it. This is like my little focus pole. So it's kind of like the basics. So let's say you have a character, and we'll bring a character in quickly. Let's see. Let's go through Fab. I'm gonna find one. Is that a character, or is that just that might be armor? 3D character. Like to say, yeah. See. Yeah, let's bring in Sarah. Now, does Sarah actually have animations? Oh yeah, you can see the visual. Yeah, let's actually do one more thing. So in rotation mode, what I like to do is do a wall. Do something like that. Or no, something like this. Yeah, you can make little adjustments here. And if you really want to, just for fun, right click as Sarah is downloading here. You go through Blueprint class, go through, so right click Blueprint class, type in what's known as camera shake. So let's do default camera shake base. Click on that. Go to camera shake. Camera shake. Click on that. And get out of that. Click on that. And this one is under parallel noise. So set timing to 0, so that's going to be infinite compared to basic. Compile. And then you can make adjustments if you want. What do you think about composition here? Oh, about the film composition? Oh, if you wanted to set up composition like the let's actually quickly get that for you. My apologies. You know, so once let's say we're done with the camera, whatever. Let's go through here. And actually, let's change this to say camera active. Okay. Oh, sorry, my brain's having a little moment. 1/4, 3/4 space. Oh, my bad, my bad. I'm having my little dumb moment here. What am I doing? Come on. You know this. Sorry, bear with me, everyone. I'm having my little moment here. Should be seeing camera actor here. What am I doing? Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying to. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you guys yeah, my brain's completely fried for a second. Hold on. Yeah, the scope, yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to I was looking for the okay, sorry. I'm trying to cinematic report. That's it. Duh. That's it. That's where it's from. Okay. Yeah, so you go to cinematic viewport, click on that. You'll get a film overlay option. It'll give you composition overlays, just like that. Now let's say I didn't want the cat, I wanted the cat to be perfectly centered. Just like that. Just like that. Or crosshair, you know, if anything, if it helps, sorry. Yeah, I didn't know. My brain was like, no, you're not working tonight. They were done. So, that'll help you here. So, perspective, you go to cinematic viewport, and then you can choose your overlays. Sorry. Usually this is second nature for me. I completely forgot to do that. Forgot to show you guys. So, for camera shake, it helps. Especially the little movement here. You can actually make adjustments as you go along with it. Yeah, if you can pull off these concepts. Oh yeah, when it comes to composition, like that's huge for me. Like, especially for like a lot of these projects. Working on I have a Western idea that I want to work with, and well, I could show you guys the process here. So we go to crop settings. I'm thinking 2.8. You know, just turn that off. Let's see, if you want to, we can also adjust by clicking somewhere 50 and going through here. That. And yeah, we can easily adjust. So let's say I didn't like the, I think it's way too much. So you can just do 0.25, 0.5, 0.5. Just make some changes. That's all up to you. Yeah. Save, compile, save. That's your camera shake. Yeah. Let's see. Hopefully the character is ready. We're still a couple percent. Yeah, we're 93%. We'll get into character animation soon. Yeah, textures don't look too bad. Yeah, pretty soon. I've changed the whiskers. Yeah, we could do like gold. We can change. Yeah, we could change it to gold. Oops. Oh yeah, well, we would have to. What we would have to do is change. You would have to. Come on, you. Probably installing the character right now. So what we'd have to do is we have to get like a material. Can't change the material. Actually, we could just insert like you can insert like glow maps here. Like make a sphere, increase the size, have glow maps and everything. That could be one way of doing it. So make a little sphere, increase size, and then you can have the glow maps. And that's how you would get your effect. Did that with a project before called Skygirl. So I think probably could make some here. Could probably put in Blender or something. How we doing? How we doing on this one? Nah, yeah, more. Yeah, it takes time, you know. The thing with Unreal Engine is just take your time. Make the. You don't need to do. I think people get too worried about everything, you know. So let's bring in Sarah here. Oh, it's one of my projects here. You can find it in my channel. It looks like the character has a blueprint. So she has like everything attached to her. So not bad. Ooh, okay, I just want the character. We have a skeleton mesh actually before we do anything. Mesh. Okay, we have a skeleton mesh. We can work with that. Okay, so character has a skeleton mesh. We don't have to worry about blueprints. So just drag the character in, and then they'll have like an animation. And let's say she has like an idol. So if you want characters to animate, yeah, I feel that like. See what else animation we have? We have run, jump, pose, upper arm, die, walk in place, motion. I feel like okay, so the motion would be probably for the face too. I bet we can live link it. Not bad model, pretty good. Great model. I don't remember if I got it from a Humble Bundle or whatever. I don't remember. So if we want the character, let's get the camera going here. So we can just delete the camera, removes the animation. We'll focus on cat. Click on this, goes to perspective, our character. Oh, we get ourselves a problem. Oh yeah, I've done a lot of these little projects here. So go to character quickly. Where are you? Where are you? Go to. the eyes. Click on that before DOF. That's why we got the issue. So if we actually, yep, there we go. That fixes it. So can't really do an eyedropper, so you have to kind of adjust. Definitely can live link the face. Definitely can be possible. I can show you what I've been working on. Kind of give you guys an idea. This is kind of gives you like a rough idea into Unreal Engine. So once you're done with that, let's make sure we get our camera going. I delete the camera. I did. It could be kind of a doofus. Anyway, there you go. Can I talk for the character? I don't know about this one. Let's go see. Let's go find out. I bet we could. I bet I can. Morph targets. Okay, so there he is. Yeah, you can. Oops, sorry. We're editing that. Sorry. Jaw open. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. So yeah, you can make adjustments here with morph targets. That can work. Usually I don't use this. I actually have. Yeah, you can animate with morph targets here with the character, and that'd be interesting. But all right. Is there a live link? I saw live link. Okay, there is a live link option. Interesting. So you could probably do this with your iPhone. That'd be interesting. Try out. So yeah, I gotta delete that scene. Now this is most of what I deal with. So this is what, if anyone's curious, would see what you can do. Yeah. to work on that. Okay, so we have a basic animation. This will tell you where to go. Here. And if you go to a clapboard here, tell you what the sequence is, the settings, and the output. You can actually make your own if you want to. I usually do. I always make like a preset before I do anything. So I go through exports. Sometimes you can do JPEG, you can do Apple ProRes if you want, H.264. Personally, I just like to do with image sequence, and EXR is one I usually work with. For rendering, let's see, character here, sorry, you can save it, this will be your destination. And you know, if there's anti-aliasing, you could do that if you want to, but keep that in mind. If you're working with cards, the hair will go all crazy, so just be careful about that. You can also go through let's say this, console variables. There's a whole list of them. Let's see, one that, let's do like hard that shadow quality or something like that. And usually do like 5. Nah, well, there's a whole bunch. Let me go pull up a project here. So, yeah, let's try Signal. All right, no worries. Thank you. Yeah, probably be calling it night soon. I just want to show you guys a little bit console variables, what to work with, explain each one, and then I'll probably call it night. But yeah, this is kind of the basic steps. What you do gives you like a rough idea into like how to do it for filmmaking. This is actually much more, this is like the most basic stuff, kind of point A to point B. And I do production work when I'm ready. You know, I do a lot of, I really should get back to streaming once things start calming down. Let's look at Signal. Okay. So this here is a little project that I was messing around with. So click on Saturn here. So you click on this, go through here. Obviously, if anything, the file format, whatever the name is, .frame number, you want to keep that. So just type in whatever the sequence or the scene that you're rendering out, and then just put it in folders, stay organized. Don't give yourself headaches. I'm just gonna prepare a shape, get the shaders going. So let's minimize this. Let's get our scene here. So this is the camera. That's what you can do with a simple glow map. Yeah, possibilities with this program there. It's unreal. You know, well, but whatever. So yeah, this is I used it for the project here. Into iclone, I did 1.3 temporal. It's a little low, but what can you do? But this is console variable. So tone mapper, I usually set at 5, shadow quality 5, depth of field 4. Motion blur separable is quite important. So you want to make sure that's at 1. Otherwise, you'll get this weird ghost effect. And also rendering 48 frames per second is pretty useful. You get motion blur quality, and I put that 4 and then bloom. There's other settings you can do, but this is what I kind of work with. Those are kind of the main ones. So once you're done with that, you can actually press accept, and then you hit render local, and then we'll see if this is going to crash. Just in case, I'll just get rid of that tutorial here. Yeah, we'll save everything. So render local. Let's put this in the desktop or whatever. Let's put this on Center 3 or whatever. Let's call it that. Just give you guys an idea. And this might crash because Unreal likes to crash a lot. So make sure you save your work. Like we usually have anything that ends up as a fight. So it's going to compile all shaders. That's usually what I will do first. And you can tell it's rendering pretty fast actually. But yeah, that'll do it. So that's kind of like the basics. That's how you really get started with Unreal Engine. Build a set, then we can get into camera work, and then kind of show you the basics, how to throw a character in, animate, learning the light, and then this is basically the basic 101. So I'll probably try to make this into something a lot more organized, but anyway, if anyone has any questions, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.